fucking scoot back a little so I guess so I don't punch the microphone. Hey, come listen to our podcast, yeah. Please listen, it's a hitch. If you don't listen to our podcast, yeah, then you are a bitch. Maybe that one.
Welcome to Filmoscopy, the podcast where carriages are forged by blacksmiths, steeds are loud and made of steel, and everyone loves to fucketh. I'm your host today, Cody the Weary, and joining me is Lance the Barbarous.
Fucketh me.
And Owen the Meek.
Fucketh me, fucketh you.
So today we're talking about the 1995 cult classic, roaring success of the hodgepodge of fairy tale horror films of the 90s, Rumpelstiltskin.
Hey, Cody.
Yes.
If we have some loyal listeners, and I think there's two episodes ago, at the end of the episode, I believe it's the Friday the 13th Part 2 episode, you said your movie was going to be a critically acclaimed horror movie, and it had a different name than Rumpelstiltskin. What was that again?
Hereditary.
Okay, so for the viewers at home who's keeping score, we could have watched Hereditary, which has been, Cody said, one of the scariest movies he's ever seen in his life.
Yes.
And a lot of people have critically acclaimed this movie. And he decided to replace it with Rumpelstiltskin, a 1995, should have been made for TV, not good in what it's trying to execute, but kind of funny. Some people, the best review I've seen for this movie before I watched it was, don't take it seriously, and it's so bad it's good. That's what Cody did. Everyone, this is me saying, guys, we're going to watch Empire Strikes Back because it's a sequel to the first Star Wars movie. Then changing my mind the next episode saying, no, we're going to watch Mortal Kombat Annihilation because it's a sequel to the first Mortal Kombat movie. I'm in a Mortal Kombat kick. So Cody completely this is 1 yard short for the Titans in the Super Bowl when it comes to Cody picking movies. This was rough, but it did give me something that's going to live with me the rest of my life, and it's not herpes. So we'll continue.
What's the general review consensus? I didn't look up any reviews after I watched this or before I did. Well,
the first one popped up says smells like herpes.
All right, I agree.
From looking into it, it looked like most critics did not like it. There were a few that found it to be the kind of like fun, campy type horror that, some people love. And, I think all of us probably have those movies, those like kind of campy movies that we really dig, even though they're not really necessarily good. And fans.
Well, see, I think for me, I have those movies, but I think those movies are good, unironically. Mm-hmm. That's the problem I have. It's like I don't like movies like this movie is so bad. I remember I was having dinner with a former girlfriend at the time, and I was mentioning the Mortal Kombat movie, the 95 movie. She goes, that movie is so campy, but it's good. And I'm thinking in my head, bitch, what? Like, I can't take, I'm one of those really sensitive snowflakes that cannot take criticism of something I like. Of movies I like. And if you guys try to correct my saying, fuck you, I'm leaving the podcast right now.
Yeah, Lance is like, go, fuck it, and just signs off.
I'm like a fucking Porky Pig.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like this film isn't. It's definitely not Leprechaun in the Hood or Killer Clowns from Outer Space, right? Like those movies are campy, but they're like fun to watch. This is just like bad. I mean, it's really rough.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised someone didn't pull out a pedophile joke in this movie because he's chasing around a baby.
Yeah, it's really weird. And there's scenes in this where, like, obviously, it's almost like, man, we want to do this with the scene, but obviously, there's like an actual like infant in the in the scene, so it's like we can't really like get as crazy as we want. You know what I mean? Like, there's just some of these that like feel like the scenes were toned down because like they also have to interact with a baby in the same scene.
Yeah.
And it's just weird. But before we get into our, I think probably neither one of you have ever seen this before, right?
No.
No, I never heard of this or seen it.
Well, for me, I talked about it a little bit on the last podcast, but yeah, my older sister, who's 4 years older than I am, when I was a kid, she used to like make me watch horror movies with her, and then she would kind of tease me and torment me by saying whatever the monster or whatever from the movie is going to come get me. And the first one I ever remember that happening with is Rumpelstiltskin. The second one being Freddy Krueger, which is why like I wanted to do this before I did Nightmare on Elm Street as my next film. Because literally,
I see we're ascending here.
greatly. It's like this movie is you're laying down in your grave, and then you may as well just jump on a rocket ship and go when it comes to Nightmare on Elm Street, because that's how much of a drastic difference in quality it is. I don't have any memories of actually watching this. I know I've seen it because she would tease me with it, and I have memories of that. So it was interesting to watch this for the first time in probably, no joke, almost 30 years, because I was probably 4 or 5 when I saw this movie, and yeah, so yeah, it's interesting. But before we proceed on with talking about stuff from the film and all that anymore, I just want to run through the brief details. So the film was released on November 24th, 1995. It was directed by Mark Jones. Mark Jones, 281-330-8004. I know that's Mike Jones, but you better keep him down on the low. Anyway, Mark Jones was best known for directing and writing the first Leprechaun movie. He actually was starting pre-production on Leprechaun 2 when this got greenlit, so he ended up just being a producer for Leprechaun 2 and went and made this instead. And he never went back to the Leprechaun series. Obviously, this film never received a sequel, and every movie that came out after this that he made is stuff I've never heard of before. The film
wasn't he part of the? Isn't he a producer for Leprechaun 2?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, because he was
okay. Sorry,
he was originally going to direct Leprechaun 2 and write it, I think, but then this got greenlit.
And so this came out, they're like, nah.
Well, it wasn't even that. This project got greenlit, so he left that project to make Rumpelstiltskin instead, and he just ended up producing Leprechaun 2. But then he never touched the Leprechaun series after that. Like, and I mean, the Leprechaun series is another one of those series. I mean, it's had like 7 or 8 films at this point. The runtime for this movie is 87 minutes, thankfully. The budget was $3 million, and it only brought in a box office of $306,494. It was a box office bomb. I mean,
What's crazy is I could see the numbers being reversed and it making sense. Like, we spent $300,000 on this movie and we made $3 million.
Yeah.
But holy shit balls, man.
I mean, as bad as this movie is, it is surprising that it made that little.
I'm surprised this movie got a theatrical release. What in the fuck are you talking about, Cody?
That's super surprising. It's like a fucking sci-fi original, like, made-for-TV movie. It's totally not.
Psycho 4 is a made-for-TV on HBO movie that came out in 1990. 5 years before this movie came out. And it is like leagues of quality better than this thing that got a fucking theatrical cut.
Oh, I completely agree. I'm just saying, because this era of horror movies, I think that they were really like, I think the studio was very much like, oh, Leprechaun did really well for us, right? So here's another. The guy who wrote and directed Leprechaun wants to make another film about like a mythical creature, but with a horror twist. And let's really see if we can strike gold twice. Basically, I'm not saying Leprechaun like blew the box office away or anything, but it was very successful for what it was. And it just so happens that this movie it fell hard on its face. And I'm just saying it's surprising that more people that probably were into things like Leprechaun or other movies of a similar ilk around that time didn't go out and see this. But it could just be that the trailers were really corny and bad looking. I don't know. I didn't really go back and look into all that. But when you're in the year 2024 and you're watching a film that was rented on YouTube and it doesn't even have an HD version, that the studio like cared so little about it that they never like bothered to go back and even touch it up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So as soon as
it's rough. There's one.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say there's one actress.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on a second. Okay, my bad. So I will go first on this part because it's just a small, simple fact.
Yeah.
There's one actress in this movie that I recognize. I thought it was her sister, but I guess it's just her friend. Let me look it up real quick. Oh, Jesus Christ. What is this movie called again?
Rumpelstiltskin. 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 He is gonna eat some pigskin and shove it up your bum. Take your children to the rum.
That's fucking nasty. Let's see here. Okay, there it is. I popped up. So her friend. Ooh, what is that bitch's name? Hildy?
Yeah.
Her name is Alice Beasley. And she. Man, I don't know. Her delivery. And it's not just this movie, but the things that she does. She has a very cartoony reaction as she's acting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, the way she talks, her jaws move like
dude, she
really
reminds
wide
me,
and shit.
I tried to think of this while I was watching the movie. There's an actress like from more modern times that has like the same like voice and cadence and everything, and I just cannot for the life of me remember what her name is. But I looked up this actress to see if they were related by chance, and they're not. But it's just like, man, it's like so weird. They had the same like mousy voice, and even like they're like what you're saying, like the way that her jaw moves when she talks. Like this other actress is exactly the same way. So
yeah, and evidently she was an announcer for Playhouse Disney, a morning lineup program for young children on Disney Channel.
Hey,
But I know her for one thing. She was in, which episode was it? I'm looking it up right now. So I'm a big fan. I've talked about it probably vaguely on the show, at least. I'm a big fan of the sitcom Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
And that show ran from like 82 to like 91 or 93, I should say. And it spawned the show Frasier. I'm sure other people have at least heard the show Frasier. Frasier is the child of Cheers. But there's a character in the first couple seasons of Cheers. His name is Coach. He's Sam Malone's former baseball coach, and he's really forgetful, just really dumb character. But he's like the comic relief. But he plays everything seriously. He's being serious, but everything he does is like comedy, almost like Frank Drebin from the Naked Gun movies.
Yeah.
And then later on, that actor, do what, Cody?
No, never mind. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. So and then he was replaced by Woody Harrelson later on because in real life the actor passed away, and that was Woody Harrelson's big break, was that show. Well, the 5th episode of Cheers, there's an episode called Coach's Daughter, and this lady, Alice Beasley, plays Coach's daughter, and I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, where in the fuck have I seen this chick from? And it was like it was bothering me at first. I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't know what I've seen her from. And then it just fucking dawned on me. I'm like, oh shit, that's the daughter in that episode of Cheers. I'm like, holy fuck. And that came out in 82, so this was like 13 years later. So she aged gracefully. She didn't look any different. But yeah, like, I think that's just the way she talks. I ain't trying to make fun of anybody by that. If they were trying to do it, it would be funny. But I just think that's her natural cadence because she sounded just like that
Yeah.
in the show Cheers 13 years earlier. And it's like,
Oh yeah,
ooh,
I mean
she's the only actress I recognize from the movie.
Yeah,
so.
it's nothing wrong with it necessarily. It's just a very distinct acting style. But her character in this film sucks. Like it is like I think she has the worst character in the entire film because it's just she's so one note. Like everything is a comment about how she is basically like having trouble with her love life. Like everything.
Well, she gets killed pretty early on with no fanfare. So
yeah, and
the thing is, I think that she doesn't have any like. I wouldn't say she's the worst character. I think every character in the show is one note. Like you're portraying Worry, the main character. You're the horny comic relief to her friend. Rumpelstiltskin, you're just ugly. The husband, look, we want you to have slick back hair, and you're gonna die Alex Murphy style in RoboCop, but you're gonna get shot. You're gonna get shot in like your big artery in your leg that you're gonna bleed out in a couple seconds. You're gonna get shot in your hip. You're gonna get shot in your shoulder. But as you're dying, you blow the motherfucker's head off as he's running away 25 feet away. So everything in this movie is one note, and I think she's the one you remember the most from this because no one else is memorable. Like the dude, I swear to God, the dude who the talk show host.
Yeah.
What is his name? He doesn't even have a fucking Wikipedia page.
right.
I hate my phone sometimes. Johnny Blaze is the actor's name. Tommy Blaze, excuse me, Max Bergen. So Tommy Blaze, I swear to God, sounds like Jared Stillman from 102.9 The Buzz. Or 102.5 The Buzz, the Nashville sports talk radio host from 2 to 6 p.m. during the weekdays.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds just like him if he gained 50 pounds. And I can say that I'm fat, okay? So I can sit there and make fun of someone else gaining weight or whatever. So fuck you. Yeah, so everything in this movie, dude, I would say, like, one note. I think I recognize the detective. That guy's named Jack McGee. He's played in a bunch of things. He did play in, so I guess I was wrong about this. He played in Halloween 4, if I'm not mistaken, 1988. No, he didn't. Never mind. He played in Lethal Weapon 2, so I was way the fuck off. And he played Lethal Weapon 3. Okay. See, I was thinking like there's Halloween 4. There's a dude who looks just like him, but he's got weird fucking teeth, and he's a security guard. And they're like, they gotta go get Michael, who's been in hibernation for 10 years because he got burned in Halloween 2. And they're like, they hear somebody screaming, and the doctor goes, "Jesus Christ!" And he goes, "Hey, he ain't got nothing to do with this place." And I thought that was this guy, so I was wrong. So go ahead, my bad.
But yeah, I think I understand, like, not everyone really has a lot of, like, great character development in this. I mean, really nobody does. But at least with, like, the talk show host, it's like, man, this guy's a real piece of shit when you first, like, see him, especially, like, on the TV. Yeah. Which, by the way, if she's so disgusted by him, why is she fucking watching his show? I mean, the scene is literally just there for, like, why didn't she go to her friend's house or something and she was watching it instead of her watching it and be like, "Oh, I just can't stand him. He's such a pig."
I think that would make a lot of sense. Yeah, I think you make a lot of sense there, but I also have to say I hate listening to Jared Stillman's show because I hate the Titans. So I just like listening to it. And I like hearing everybody talk good things about the Titans and it falling apart. So I can see her secretly hate watching the show, like, fuck this guy. But I'll tell you one thing. I really wish the one part in this movie that was HD was the models he was talking to on the show. Because I was over here like, okay, I think that's a boob. I think that's a boob. I can't tell. Because her TV's shitty and it's 1995 and nothing's in HD. So, yeah. And this dude, like, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen that dude in anything else. It's really, like, we made a joke off air. Like, this is like an extended episode of Tales of the Crypt.
Yeah,
but I think the makeup in Tales of the Crypt is better than this movie.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I was like, man, this feels like, the quality-wise, it felt like an episode of Goosebumps. Just
Yeah.
And I'm not
Are
talking-
You Afraid of the Dark?
and I'm not talking about like the good episodes of Goosebumps. I'm not talking about Haunted Mask or Stay Out of the Basement. I'm talking about shit like Say Cheese and Die. You know, like that crap. So
What about, does it remind you of Are You Afraid of the Dark from Nickelodeon?
I never watched Are You Afraid of the Dark?
That was actually a pretty decent show when I was a kid. It's probably not really good quality, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
this movie, I didn't know. The fucking makeup was so bad in this movie.
I don't know. I think Rumpelstiltskin's makeup was fine. There were like moments where, you know, especially like when it would show like a close up of his face. It's like, man, the makeup's actually pretty good for him, but it's just his characterization sucks. Like it's like I hate that he's like a full grown man who like hobbles around in a squatted position, you know?
It was really weird looking when they got that wide shot and they showed him like hunched over and shit. Like he was crouch walking, like he was fucking in like a video game or something.
Yeah, for the first portion of the film, I'm like, man, this is it doesn't. I wonder if he's just like hunched over, or if, you know, if it's a shorter person. But then, yeah, like especially like later on when he's like carrying the baby out to the cemetery, and it shows him, and he's just like, oh no, he's literally just a fucking like 5'10" man squatted down. Like, you know, it's so bizarre.
And I guess speaking of Rumpelstiltskin, I don't know if he's like, I guess he's supposed to be like this, I guess, likable villain, you know, kind of like, I guess, like Leprechaun, the other movie, you know, he's like just fun to watch, but I don't know. It's just the way he is, it's not that entertaining. And I mean, I feel like you can't be like, oh, he's just a lovable scamp when he's like trying to like steal and kill babies.
Exactly. And also like it's like Lance was, you know, when Lance was talking about how a lot of these characters are one note, you know, his whole like thing is just like, I want the baby. Like, I mean, like that's literally his whole character, you know.
The baby.
So
yeah, it's like
he's not really.
When he said, Cody, I gotta ask you one thing because we saw this movie in theaters. When at some point in this movie, I can't remember if it's the flashback at the beginning or the present day, he goes, "My baby." Did you think about that stork in the movie Stork when he goes, "My baby"?
No, I didn't think of that. Oh,
yeah, man. That's the first thing that popped in my head.
Anyway, it's been a while since I seen storks.
I wish we watched that instead.
Yeah, it would have been a much better choice. So yeah, I mean, does anyone have any other like preliminary things? Because the plot's easy enough for me to like run through, and we can kind of talk about different scenes. Because I know there's probably a few scenes that everyone wants to kind of touch on here, like Rumpelstiltskin.
Well, I guess something I want to touch on.
Like Rumpelstiltskin touched on the main character.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he fucked her.
I know.
Oh yeah, I forgot
like,
I did.
What the fuck?
You see her ass too, which is kind of weird.
You see her side boob too, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know where it was going. I thought that it was going to be like, oh, he legitimately brought him back to life, but the deal was going to be, if you want him to stay, you have to give me your son, and then like the conflict would go from there. But no, it was just straight up Rumpelstiltskin pretending to be her husband. Like,
yeah, why doesn't he just make his own baby? You know what I'm saying?
And I guess you have to have a soul to make a baby.
I guess so.
And why doesn't he like disguise himself more?
Yeah, if he can just do that. I mean, another thing that fucking bothers me so much is like they learn early on that all you have to do is say his name to like, I guess, stun him or some shit, or like.
But they don't. Yeah, but they don't do it anytime they see him, and they know that he's Rumpelstiltskin pretty much from the get.
Yeah, like they immediately know, and they read in the thing like, "Oh, you have to guess his name," and they're like, "Oh, okay, I guess we'll save that towards the end."
I guess it ended up being where to get rid of him, you had to have like the burning straw or whatever.
Yeah,
as well. So.
That's what I caught on to, but it's very like poorly explained.
Oh yeah, because when he first shows up in her apartment, you know, when he reveals himself, he's like, it's either give me I take the child or you guess my name, and I can't remember what she says to him, something like "screw you, you son of a bitch" or something like that.
Yeah, son of a bitch, and he's like, no,
and he's like, Yeah, it's like you're wrong.
He says, "Say my name, say
He's
my
like,
name."
and she's like, I'm tired of this hacker crap.
She said, "Damn it!"
This movie came out the same time as Mortal Kombat, 95.
Yeah.
Let that simmer just a little bit, people.
Buddy,
Like Rumpelstiltskin, his makeup, the costume was entertaining, but all the other makeup, the special effects in this movie were god awful. Like you could obviously tell that was a fake hair, and they lingered too long on it. Why the fuck is he riding a motorcycle and driving an 18-wheeler? We'll get to it, people.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, so I'll start going through.
Why did I have to rent this movie? Why wasn't it free?
I don't know. That's a good question. I guess because even whoever just Lionsgate or whoever owns it just is like, yeah, fuck it, we don't even want to. If anyone wants to watch this, we're definitely getting money out of them for watching it.
Dude, I can go on YouTube and watch an epic World War II movie called Battle of the Bulge for free. I can watch a great, fun disaster movie called Earthquake for free. I can watch another good World War II movie, Midway, free. But I had to pay $4 and some change with tax to watch Rumpelstiltskin. I'm not going to sit there and say I worry about $4.72 like I should because my money is tight. But my God, I feel like this movie should have been uploaded on YouTube by some pirated account, and it should have been the first thing that popped up when I searched for it. But no, I did. I even looked. Hey, Rumpelstiltskin movie movie on YouTube. And the first thing you had to do was fucking rent it. I'm like, you kidding me? And I did notice what you were saying. Like, there's only standard definition for this. I'm like, I wonder if that's whatever. So I rented it, and then Cody watched it first. He goes, I'm done with the movie. So I took the bait and asked him how did he feel about it. I go, regret, ? Glad you picked it. And then I get a LOL. I get just don't go into it taking it seriously. I didn't want to take it anywhere. I don't care if it's seriously, if it's supposed to be funny. I didn't want to take this motherfucker anywhere after watching it. There's 16 seconds at the beginning of this episode, or in the episode, whichever way Cody puts it in. It's the only thing worth watching this movie.
I don't know, Lance.
And
I mean, Shelley says that Rumpelstiltskin's a good lay, so.
Who the hell is Shelley?
The main character.
Oh, is that her name?
Yeah.
I had no idea that was her name. Oh my God. No, and then what if she was at the dinner table, like when she was telling us, like, I know I had sex with him, but she should have been like, well, he was about 3 inches bigger, so I should have thought something was up.
It is weird. She never, ever brings that up, ever. It's just she very quickly puts it out of her mind.
She's like
that.
No, she did say it though. She did say, she goes, I know I made love to him.
Did she?
So
I don't remember saying
yes.
that.
Yeah, she says
yes,
that.
she was at the dinner.
She says that to her friend, and that fucking psychiatrist just shows up for like one scene and then fucks off.
And then her friend's probably like, well, at least you got some. Because that's the only thing she knows is she's fucking down bad.
She got that rumple foreskin.
You know, in that shower scene when he's taking a shower and he goes, I'm in here, won't you come on in? And she opens the door and it's Rumple foreskin. He's not wet. But he was wet as the guy in the shower.
Yeah.
Can we talk about some continuity here? Like, come on, man. I mean, I don't know. I'm not asking for a lot in movies. Even if a story's bad, I can forgive it if it's at least has continuity.
That is the worst part.
That's my biggest thing in life. It is for me, dude. I don't know what it is. Like, I wish Jason Goes to Hell. I hate that movie, but I'd hate it a lot less if the continuity wasn't all fucked up, and I didn't understand when the fuck that movie took place. Like, I want just something. I can watch like 38 Godzilla movies that are all quote-unquote sequels to the original and they ignore the ones previously. But there's some continuity to them. That's fine. I can watch the Mad Max movies and think, you know what? Some continuity. There's no continuity in this. And it's like, fuck, dude. Like, we're going to talk about how you fucked Rumpelstiltskin.
Beyond Thunderdome, they cut out the post-credit scene where Max sings to the kids, "Children, don't stop dancing."
They cut out the scene where Max fucks Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh man.
They cut out the scene where Blaster and Rumpelstiltskin double team Max.
They go,
And
Master.
the whole time Rumpelstiltskin saying, "Give me the baby."
Give me the baby.
I just think about the only thing that would have been perfect at Mad Max Thunderdome is when they reveal Blaster's face and he's a special needs kid, and there was a quite silence among the crowd, and the kid just goes, "Hi," and then he got shot by the arrows. That was a missed opportunity to me.
So yeah, let me start breaking this down. Well, breaking it down, going through the scenes, so we can kind of just hit on the things, because I know there's other stuff that we all want to talk about.
We're breaking down Rumpelstiltskin.
Break the rumple down.
I swear to God, I mean, there was a lot more we could have covered. And Mad Max the Road Warrior. And
Yeah.
we're going to break down scene by scene.
Forever, this film is in our list of covered movies. You know, we're less than 100 movies in, by the way. We still haven't hit 100 films.
Oh!
And Rumpelstiltskin
I thought we had 200 episodes.
No, so I think whenever I do, technically Nightmare on Elm Street 3 would be the 100th film, because we have a couple of special episodes or whatever in there. But anyway, yeah, Rumpelstiltskin made it into the top 100 episodes.
Oh man,
They should be
didn't I have a
honored.
movie? No, look, didn't I have a movie I picked and I just apologized to you guys throughout the episode? I think there's a movie I picked where I did that. I feel like Cody should do that for us.
Was it Maximum Overdrive? Maybe.
I didn't pick that movie, but
Oh, was that an Owen movie?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
That's what this movie reminded me of a lot of. Maximum Overdrive.
dude, you're insulting Maximum.
It reminds me of that and Ernest Scared
it-
Stupid.
And Duel.
I mean, at
Don't
least
forget
this
Duel.
movie had no. At least that movie Maximum Overdrive had Stephen King going, "This machine says I'm an asshole."
Yeah, and the practical effects for Maximum Overdrive are kind of good, I guess.
Kinda. Anyway, the film starts off in the Middle Ages sometime. It may have said a year. I don't remember. And Rumpelstiltskin has...
I think it's the 1400s.
Is it? So, 1400s, Rumpelstiltskin has kidnapped a child. And he's running through the streets. He's and he's running down the road. And the villagers are chasing him. And they end up cornering him. And he's like, "Bring on the pain." Because for some reason he gets off whenever they hit him. And he's kind of like Pennywise, who needs to tenderize his meat with fear. But I guess babies taste better whenever he gets beaten with sticks.
I thought you were about to say he's like Pennywise and he's on Tinder. No, that makes sense.
So yeah, they corner him. He throws some dust down and it starts a fire, which is weird considering fire is one of his one of the things they need to actually get rid of him. And Matilda shows up, and she's like, not today, Rumpy," and casts him away, turns him into a stone, a jade statue. And I think that's basically it for the intro scene.
Yeah, casts a little curse on his ass, and he gets thrown into the water.
Like, "No one's ever gonna find you now, bitch." And hold on just a second, sorry. It goes to present day, and you see a cop, and he's talking with his partner about getting some donuts, and they go to the donut shop, and then
And also trying to get a baby name too.
oh yeah, the baby name, and he's like, "I want to name him Markiplier," and she's like, "I don't think so. That's a weird name."
And she just names him John, the fucking most boring name ever.
Well, that was his name, right? His name was John, so
Oh, I didn't
she
know
named
that.
him after him.
Okay.
Owen, did you even watch the movie?
No. I'm
There's
just guessing what happens.
You're doing a pretty good job. There's a robbery at the donut shop or a gas station or something. I can't remember exactly. And the guy comes out. Oh, he tries to carjack somebody or something. And he's going to shoot the guy, and then he sees there's a baby in the back. So he's like, oh, no.
Dude, it's so fucking funny. Like, who, robs somebody in broad daylight right next to a cop car, first off?
Yeah, it's so stupid.
And then second off, it takes him 1,000 fucking years to shoot this guy that is just, filling him full of lead. It's so,
he's like,
gratuitous,
I don't want to accidentally shoot the baby, right? I think that's what they're trying to get across.
Yeah, but he wasn't anywhere, really near it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that and the fact that his death scene was just, fucking stupidly gratuitous for, this goofy-ass movie.
Yeah, and,
It's
go ahead,
it's like RoboCop getting killed in the first movie. And he's like, no, bam! And it blows off his hand. He's like, and just all that shit. But this dude gets shot. He goes down to a knee. Gets shot. Goes down to the other knee. Gets shot. Flies on his back. And he leans up one more time and just blows that motherfucker's head off. Because it's like poetry. It rhymes.
And even though the back of his head got blown out by a hollow point, is what it looks like, he still had the cognition. The cognitive ability to drop to his knees and place his hands out in front of him to make sure he didn't slam onto the concrete.
Yeah, he fucking domes him instantly. And he's like, "Oh, I don't want to fall."
Well, Cody, do you play his stuntman wages? Why don't you shut the fuck up and just go with it?
With the budget of this film,
I'm just kidding. I mean, something had to be paid, and I think it was this theme.
Yeah,
I think they spent all the budget money on coke.
It was that and Rumpelstiltskin's makeup, and that was it. And renting.
Okay, it's Rumpelstiltskin's makeup, the fire hydrant, the 18-wheeler going down the mountain, and this scene. That's where all the money was spent.
So, we fast forward. Shelley has had her son, named him John after her dead husband, Owen, and she's just miserable. I mean, she's depressed, I guess. She stays at home. Doesn't really think it's safe to go out.
She hasn't got off in 8 months.
Yeah, she's, someone needs to dust off the cobwebs. And her friend...
she's trying to flick the bean and it ain't working.
Yeah, her friend Hildy doesn't make it any better because she's just constantly going on about how woeful her love life is. And sometime in this...
I can tell you about all the boyfriends that slept on this couch, but then I won't.
That's what we want to hear, God damn it.
So,
just say you want to suck every dude's dick you see and just get over with. Okay?
It's a very scary. It could be a very scary movie type moment where Rumpelstiltskin pops out at her house and she's just like, "Oh, finally a man."
Yeah.
That
would have.
I was expecting her to do that.
That would be funnier than what actually happened.
Yeah, funnier than her just standing there and letting him approach her and break her neck. Yeah,
yeah.
I would say so. But that's another issue I have with this film. It's everybody who he kills, they just stand there and let him walk up to them. What are you doing? It's the kind of shit that annoys me with Child's Play movies, where it's you have a fucking 2-foot doll running at you. Just boot that motherfucker across the room. Seriously. Anyway, so fast forward a little bit. They go to a thrift shop. Oh, we get introduced to whatever the guy's name is, the TV show host, during all this.
Max Bergen.
There you go, thanks. Max Bergen. Or as his friends call him, Max. And anyway, we go to the thrift shop. They are
as his boss calls him, Max. Or as all the complete strangers call him, Max.
Yeah. They go to the thrift shop. She's entranced by this jade statue. Matilda the witch from the beginning of the film is there running the shop, and she's like, no, that one's not for sale, child. It's a very haunted mask from Goosebumps. These masks are not for sale.
She's eating deviled ham.
She's
eating deviled ham out of a can.
Yeah. And
she has a put-out cigar in the same can she's eating.
Yeah, it's so gross.
That's flavor.
Ugh.
That shit was just... Shut the fuck
hey,
up.
I like how she's like, don't buy this. It's the fucking greatest thing ever. This thing will make you come in 1 second, but don't buy it, okay? This thing will grant every wish you ever wanted, but I don't think you should get it. Like the way she's describing the little fucking totem thing or whatever the fuck it is, the little rock.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen the Dewey Cox, the Walk Hard story?
Yeah.
It's the part where every time he tries a new drug and he's like, "You don't want any part of this, Dewey." He'll sit there and give you superpowers or some shit. He goes, "I think I want to try it now." That's kind of like what this
Yeah,
is.
that's pretty much what she pulls on them. Yeah.
But
It feels like that's what influenced that movie. It was like that scene where she goes, "You don't want any part of this. You can wish your dead husband back." She goes, "Actually, I think I want to buy it, $15." And I think that's pretty much how it went. And Dewey Cox are like, "Hey, you remember that scene in that movie Rumpelstiltskin?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." So they just repeated it 3 times in that movie. So really, Walk Hard is a kind of a pseudo remake of Rumpelstiltskin.
yeah. Anyway, she buys the statue, even though Matilda says it's not for sale. It doesn't make any sense.
Matilda, she sounds like a fucking dog.
It's,
That was the name
it's not even.
of the British Bulldog's dog in WrestleMania 4 that they had. Matilda.
She takes the
Anyway.
statue home. She gets upset because she's looking at a picture of John that looks like it was literally taken whenever they were filming the scene from the beginning of the movie where he gets killed. And
Why is he standing at that angle?
yeah, he's standing at that angle outside of his police uniform. He's like, yeah, just go stand over there at that part of the lot, and we'll just take a picture of you for a prop later. She cries. A teardrop falls on the Jade statue. Teardrop. Anyway, and she goes to bed later on. She wakes up, she wakes up because she hears someone coming into her house and literally sits there and says, "Hello." She lives alone with her infant son, and her first response to hearing someone walking around her house is, "Hello." Like, and she has a gun. It's like, grab the gun and go see who the fuck is in your house. Anyway, it's John. It's a miracle. He's back. And then they make passionate love. And then later on, he's in the shower. She goes in there to join him. But when she opens the door, boo, it's Rumpelstiltskin. He's back because he was actually the statue. He was a little frozen statue man. And he tells her, like we talked about earlier, if you guess the name, I won't take your son. She can't guess the name, so he tries to take the son. She flees. And she goes to Hildy's house, right?
Yeah.
And Hildy's like, "Don't worry, you can stay here. No one slept on this couch since my last boyfriend." And later that same night, or they talk to the detective.
Why would a boyfriend be sleeping on her couch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird. It's also
Was it her parents telling her, like, "Hey, the boyfriend got to sleep on the couch"? Like, oh, okay.
It's also
Like,
interesting that it seems like people believe her, at least in the beginning of the movie. They're like, "Oh, yeah, we'll get him." It's like, but it's such a bizarre thing where it's like, yeah, she's talking about this little monster, but like we definitely believe what she's saying, which isn't really normal for
the
movies.
little monster, she's talking about her dildo. This little guy, where he
Yeah,
rocks my world and he keeps tormenting me.
We found it under the bed. The night that she's staying with Hildy, Rumpelstiltskin shows up and he murders Hildy. He, like I said, he just walks right up to her and he's just like, "Just go!" Like she's gonna hold him
He's
off.
in the closet,
Yeah,
okay, and then he breaks through like the wall, not even through the closet door, another part of the house,
Yeah.
and they keep showing, like the windows open. That's how they got in the house. But there's also a first-person point of view of somebody walking towards the front door of the house, and it's like not cohesive whatsoever. Like, man, they made Halloween on a $750,000 budget, and that had more continuity in the first 5 minutes than this whole movie put together. It's like, what in the fuck are we doing here, man? Like, just a few small changes you can make this movie, and it'd actually be entertaining.
yeah.
But, man, I'm just left with fucketh me, and then that's it. I mean, I'm happy I got that. Don't get me wrong, but there were things I'm like, okay, well, there's not even, like, much story cohesion to it. Like, when you talk about the neck snap, the sound effect they put in, it sounded like somebody popping their right knuckle.
Yeah.
It's like pop, and it's like she throws her head to the right and falls down. It's like, okay, this is what we're doing here.
Yeah, it's this scene's one of the many, like, most of the death scenes in this movie aren't very good. I mean, because it really just does consist of Rumpelstiltskin walking up to somebody and just killing them in like such a very like mild way.
Wild man, a reporter named Peter Parker.
But yeah, so Shelley flees again in the car, and she just can't wait to take him out on a very first date. And Rumpelstiltskin goes out, and is this when he gets the? This is when he gets the motorcycle, right? So
Yep.
he makes a comment about, "Oh, your steed," or this is the first moment where it's like, what is his knowledge of the modern world? Because he calls a motorcycle a steed, he calls cars carriages, but yet he's able to get on the motorcycle and ride it like he has no issue whatsoever.
I love the music that plays. The fucking goofy ass.
I wish they had done like some cheap rip off of like Bad to the Bone and him riding the motorcycle with his sunglasses on. It's like a Terminator 2 scene. It's like Bad to the Bone, and he's like riding the motorcycle with sunglasses and some shit.
Gee.
Oh my god! And he's like just fucking like guns blazing, going through this busted fire hydrant, and he fucking just crashes, and like that's it. That's it for the motorcycle. That shit's so fucking stupid, man. I swear.
But yeah. So he God, I'm having trouble remembering what happens after this. I know he follows her.
That's when he wrecks, and then the 18-wheeler guy.
Oh yeah, that's
stops
right.
in front of him, gets on his hands and knees, and goes shit, and then dies.
That's honestly
like he gets his head ripped.
The funniest part of this movie. It was in the beginning, just watching Rumpelstiltskin like eat shit, like fucking, and like wreck his motorcycle, and then get ran over before that by the the car. I thought that probably would have been funnier if they just had him keep getting like fucked up and getting back up and being like, God damn.
God damn.
But yeah, he gets the 18-wheeler, and then basically the film turns into Duel.
Hey, no. Open the door real quick. Open the door, Savannah. Say hi to the podcast.
Open the door, get on the
Say
floor.
hi. I critically you're mute. Am I having sex with somebody?
Doesn't she know both of us? Like, she knows Cody, and she knows me.
She knows Cody, and well, I think she knows you. Owen, did you work with her for 2 years? I don't know.
I don't remember.
Hey, babies. Hey, Riley, say something for the podcast. I heard you saw my mother and my stepfather at the grocery store.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That is pretty cool. Savannah, you gonna say something? All they heard was you laugh. Well, my girlfriend can't sound out words, everyone. When we do it, it's
Sign language.
It's like having sex with Helen Keller, I guess.
Oh Lord.
Water.
So yeah, so Rumpelstiltskin, when he kills the truck driver, is probably would you say the most brutal way he kills somebody? Because he like rips his head off.
Oh, yeah.
Don't see it. You just see his head fall down.
Yeah, that's true. But
That's not brutal. The thing that's brutal is probably when he rips his own head off to kiss the cop tenderly on the neck, and then the cop's like, ah, and then falls down.
Dies. Oh, I'm allergic to mythical creature saliva.
But no, I just thought the whole scene where he takes a cigar out and he goes, just what I need, another bad habit. Ha.
Yeah.
That, okay, kind of funny. But the problem was they showed the fake head too long. It's like there was a cutaway. If you saw the head bounce on the street, cool, don't go back to it. But he puts the sunglasses on the head. Because I guess he's like, oh, I should probably not wear sunglasses at night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he's like,
why is he wearing sunglasses?
he does that, but
at
then
night?
you're like, well, oh, fuck. It's just for the visual of this leprechaun ripoff wearing sunglasses riding a motorcycle.
Yeah.
That they thought would be really fucking hilarious. Now,
Yeah.
for me, though, when he's got the truck and he knows how to shift gears in a manual transmission. That is peak cinema. He shifts gears and hits the gas. Like, he's not in a booster seat. You have to think the inside of this cab is probably kind of big.
Well, I guess when
he didn't even, like, adjust the seat.
When he sits down, he can actually stretch his legs out.
Probably so. When you guys talked about him, like, the hunch walking,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
like he's crouched and he's, like, walking, that reminds me, Cody, you can do that in the Friday the 13th game, remember?
Yeah.
You can hit circle and it crouches you and you can walk, but you can't walk that fast. But he's like, when he walks, he, like, bounces.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, golly, damn, that must be painful for the actor to do this.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like,
that's what I thought
imagine-
too. Like, this has to be very uncomfortable
Yeah.
to do this. But he was earning that $600 paycheck.
He said, "I need that money."
No, not the straw.
Because he's not going to be in anything else. He needed that money from this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think he's in a Star Trek show.
Oh, yeah. He's in Deep Space Nine. He's one of the Ferengi or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, so he did have a career beyond this, thankfully. But let me tell you something. We're about to get into the best part of this movie. And this movie has to be some kind of a homage to Duel. Because you have a vehicle being chased by a dark-colored 18-wheeler. And it's in the desert, and they're driving around like fucking hills and like, what the fuck? Who was gurgling?
It was Bale. People in the neighborhood are starting to shoot off
Oh.
fireworks.
I thought, like Cody's literally brushing his teeth as I'm talking about it. But it's pretty remarkable, to be honest with you, that that they did this scene as he's chasing this truck, and then later on a go-kart, an electric go-kart, not one that started up by gas. By the way, the dude's like, "Oh, this is a bad idea." That summarizes this whole movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Alright.
I do love the truck though.
Hey,
And as he's driving real fast, he's like, "Why don't you just pull over? I just want the baby."
let's stop the recording for right now, and come back to this like next week just to finish it off, because people are starting to like shoot off these fucking fireworks and these dogs are about to start losing their shit, and I don't want to have to be fighting that the rest of this damn recording.
Fuck, it's me!
So, Cody,
Mm-hmm.
how are you feeling about this movie as we're getting to the duel part?
The movie is definitely something at this point. It's a little bit. I don't really think
Jump the shark?
Yeah, and I don't think it ever really hit that. I was still waiting for it to hit like a "oh, it's so bad it's good" type moment, but it never really did. And so, but then you get to the duel part, and it's just like, oh man, this is just straight up duel. Like,
I'm glad, like, when I said that to you a couple of minutes ago, I'm glad that you agree with what I said, because it's a big black 18-wheeler in the desert, and they're going around like this little mini mountain.
mhm.
And it's like, dude, this feels just like Duel. I don't know if this was on purpose or they filmed that shit in Arizona because they wanted to have a Duel-like scene. But
Yeah,
instead of him chasing a truck, he's chasing a go-kart.
It's hard to say. Well, it's not even the go-kart at first, right? It's
Yeah, it's a truck with a boat on it.
yeah, and then yeah, because she gets the talk show host guy or whatever. He pulls over and saves her, but he like picks her up because her car broke down, and they're going.
Yeah, she blew
and
the engine in it.
yeah, and then like he the semi truck shows up with Rumpelstiltskin driving, because that's the semi truck was the one that he took from the guy that he ripped the head off of, and he catches up. He like destroys the boat, and then eventually like I can't even remember exactly where the go kart comes into play. Like I know they stop at some point.
I don't know where he had it either, because like Rumpel hit his trailer with the boat in it into the back of his truck, and then the boat went flying like past
Yeah.
him.
And
I don't know where he would have got the go-kart.
I don't know if my brain just like completely shut down for like 30 seconds during this, but I remember watching it. And I'm like, where did this go-kart come from? And then I rewound it, backed up.
Hey, I talk like that all the time. So
Yeah, I mean that's what us people that were born before fucking digital video say is rewind. Be kind, rewind.
oh God, I got to tell you a quick story about what Riley told me the other
Okay,
day.
one second. Let me just finish this
Yeah,
thought real
go ahead.
quick. So I rewound it, and I played it again from before he hits the go-kart, and then he has the go-kart, and I still was just fucking confused. I don't know if there was like some weird like sleeper cell type trigger in this movie that just made me black out for a few seconds or what, but it's just like, oh, I don't know. At that point, I guess I'm just gonna roll with it now because I can't figure it out.
Oh God, Owen's been real quiet. Owen, hey Owen, what do you think about this part in the movie? Owen, Owen, are you there?
Owen?
I should do that creepy priest voice from Scary Movie 3 instead of saying Cody. I should go Owen.
So,
oh shit! Everyone, Owen's dead.
oh Lord, he got run over by the semi truck.
This is a week later, everybody.
Yeah, yeah, we had to stop the recording. So you probably noticed a weird cut, but we had to stop the recording because my neighbors are assholes and we're all shooting off fireworks, and it sets my dogs off, so it's like not worth recording anymore on 4th of July. And yes, they're assholes because it's actually you can't shoot fireworks off where I live. But anyway,
And it was past the 4th. The 4th was on a Thursday. This was Saturday. Oh, we recorded Friday.
Yeah, we were recording on the 4th.
So it was
remember,
the 5th.
Because Owen was leaving out of town, and
oh shit, it was the 4th. Okay.
Yeah.
Hell, that's probably on me. I probably should have suggested us like start recording it before 6.
Yeah, well, it is what
our
it
normal
is.
recording time 6. Everybody, so
it is what it is. I mean, on 4th of July around here, it like sounds like a damn war zone because just so many people are shooting off fireworks. Like, man, oh man, look at all that money blowing up in the sky. I just love it. I wasted the whole month's pay. Wasted a whole month's pay on beer and fireworks. It just ain't nothing like it. America.
Unless you're throwing like fireworks at each other, it's not fun. And that shit's not fun after you get like 24 years old.
Yeah, I was gonna say after like 10 years old, fireworks are fucking boring. Like we live in the 21st century. I mean, this isn't fucking like the 1600s. You know what I mean? Like,
you want to know what's something cool though, Cody? Being off the 4th of July and getting paid for it because of my job, which I've never had before this year. Pretty fucking nice. I ain't gonna lie. And hopefully next year I'll have a different job and I'm getting paid for 4th of July too, baby.
It was the 4th of July.
But unfortunately, Owen isn't back from his trip to Indiana. They're in the process of getting their ducks lined up. They're moving back to Tennessee from Mississippi. So they're visiting family, which they usually do before they move. They did that before they left Tennessee. They went to go visit family because you don't know when you're going to be able to see family for a while.
I don't understand.
So that's what they've done here.
Wouldn't it have made sense to visit them after they moved back because they're closer to Indiana?
I don't know his whole family situation though. Like, because his mom lives down in Florida, his dad lives up in Indiana.
Oh yeah, he is a
and you have a limited time. He is from like Fred Durst, Freddie D. He said that
fucker from Jacksonville.
And they also had to have people. They're having people come look at their house. They're about trying to rent it, so they have their shit cleaned up. And I think they left for the week while they're potentially showing all the house. I may be wrong. He'll tell us next week when we're recording Friday the 13th part 3.
Mm-hmm.
But so Owen's not here, unfortunately. I guess me and Cody can somehow fill the airwaves with our lovely redneck voices. I don't know. It's going to be kind of hard to do.
We'll have to replace.
All right. Is anyone else having sex with this man's wife?
No, that's okay, Frank.
Anyone else got pictures of his wife? That's okay, Frank. I showed all three of those to Savannah and Riley. She had seen them, but
Yeah.
Riley was watching them, and he was cracking up, and she was actually laughing. She goes, "Oh, okay, that's that part."
I
And she goes,
found
"You want to watch this one because of Anna Nicole Smith?" And I go, "No, she has a penis at the end of it, so it's not something I'm like watching going, yeah." So that scarred me as a kid. I'm like, does all women have that? I didn't know. I was like 10 years old watching that fucking movie.
I found out about it. What's his name? Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen.
I found out that he was like in a Dracula parody or something.
Dracula Dead and Loving It came out like 95.
Man, I saw a clip of that on YouTube, and I was like, I gotta figure out a way to watch this movie.
There's some parts in that movie that are pretty good.
Hmm.
At that point, though, like the reviews for his stuff were really bad because they got tired of that style of humor.
Oh yeah.
That spoof thing. Like it was at Novelty and Airplane, and then 8 years later you had Naked Gun, and then Naked Gun 2, and then a lot of people Naked Gun 3, the novelty had worn off. But as somebody who's watching them from a outside view like myself, I absolutely fucking love them. Like I just love Leslie Nielsen. Like most how people love, like people your age, Cody, or a little bit older, love Will Ferrell. People my age, I guess, love Will Ferrell. I love Leslie Nielsen in that way. Like I do not get bored of his shit. He's wonderful. But
listen
real
here,
quick,
old man. I make the money in this house. I pray to whatever kind of Jesus I want to pray to. Dear 5
There's
pound,
only
6 ounce baby Jesus.
and there's really only like 2 or 3 of the Will Ferrell movies I really fucking like.
Yeah,
Like, I love the other guys.
As an adult, as a grown man, it's hard for me to go back and watch quite a few of his movies. The Other Guys is good, like you said.
Semi Pro
fucking-
is really good.
I fucking love Talladega Nights. I mean, that movie is just awesome.
I'm not a
Talladega-
huge fan of Talladega Nights. I liked it when
really?
it first came out, but I don't know what happened. Like I don't know if it was a bad, like that was one of the last movies that I saw with my mom and dad and my sister before my mom and dad got divorced.
Mhm.
So maybe that put a like sour taste in my mouth, but it just the novelty wore off. I mean, I love Step Brothers.
They got divorced because of Talladega Nights.
Yeah, it's because of that movie. It's like I fucking hate it. No, but no,
Your dad was
I love
laughing a
Step
lot, and
Brothers.
your mom's like, I don't like that you find this funny. I'm gone.
I wish that was the case. It'd been a lot funnier to tell the story. But no, I mean, I like Step Brothers. I mean, I love Step Brothers. I love Semi Pro, the basketball one. And then
I don't
the
know if
other
I've ever
guys.
seen that one. Yeah.
Semi Pro, I think Woody Harrelson's in it. I think you'd get a big kick out of that movie. Like, it's just so fucking goofy, and he's a really good like free throw shooter, but he does it granny style.
Yeah.
And so Woody Harrelson like sees him. Woody Harrelson's like an ex NBA player because it's semi a true story based on the American Basketball Association that merges into the NBA in the 70s. And he's lining up. He does this thing where he goes between his legs with the ball, brings it up and kisses it 3 times, brings it back down. And Woody Harrelson goes, "What in the hell are you doing?" And he goes, "This is how I shoot free throws." And then the other guy who's like the star of the team goes, "Yeah, man, just let him do his thing." And then it goes back to Will Ferrell, but you see Woody Harrelson behind him, and it's one of those shots where it focuses on Will, so Woody's kind of blurred out in the back, but you hear Woody go, "Oh shit."
Yeah. So I really love Talladega Nights. I love Step Brothers. The Other Guys is pretty good. So it's funny. I don't like Daddy's Home, the first one, that much, but I really like Daddy's Home too. Mostly, I think that movie is helped out quite a bit by God, what is his name? Is it John Lithgow?
Yeah, the one who plays Will Ferrell's dad.
Yeah, man, he is so fucking. They're like scenes together, and that are so good. I love.
How's Mel Gibson in that movie though? Is he really good?
He's pretty good too. But he kind of plays like more of like the man's man, kind of like. I think a lot of the stuff that's happening around me is a little ridiculous type character.
Yeah, he's playing it straight where everybody else is trying to do like
and John Lithgow's
version of comedy.
Yeah, and there's my favorite scene. My favorite scene in the movie is so Mark Wahlberg's character and Will Ferrell's character have a disagreement, and Mark Wahlberg is carrying 2 things of hot chocolate, and they bump into each other in the hallway in the middle of the night, and he spills it all over Will Ferrell, and he's like, "Oh, I thought," he's like, because Will Ferrell's like reaching in, like, "Oh, thanks, buddy," and like, but he wasn't taking it to him, and he's like, "What was that?" He's like, "I thought you were bringing me makeup, hot chocolate, or makeup cocoa," and John Lithgow like wanders out of his room, I guess, because he hears them arguing, and he sees that like Will Ferrell's like shirt is completely soaked, and he's like, "Did Big Boy make TT in bed?" And he's like, "No, Big Boy did not make TT in bed." He's like, "How would I even pee upward?" It's just so fucking funny. I love that movie, man. But yeah, a lot of this stuff
I've never seen it. Unfortunately,
you should watch it. You don't even have to really know what's going on from the first movie. It's just Will Ferrell is the stepdad to Mark Wahlberg's kids. Like, that's pretty much all you need to know. But yeah, a lot of his other movies, I watch them typically, but they're kind of hard to go back to watch. Like Get Hard, or dude, everyone loves that. Everyone loves the Anchorman movies, and I watched them both, and I just do not like them that much. It's kind of like it goes too far into like the just idiotic comedy where it's not funny. And I
know. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just one last one. I've always wanted to watch Holmes and Watson, even though people say it's really bad. But that's one of those, because I think John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell are really good together. But maybe one day.
I agree with that part, like 100% with them. I heard that movie did get bad reviews. I thought the trailer was kind of funny when I first saw it.
Mm-hmm.
The first Anchorman, I think I finally watched, because I had a former boss at my old work who was actually a distant cousin of mine, fucking just obsessed with Anchorman, always talked about it. I never really watched it because everybody was like, "Oh yeah, you gotta watch it." So I watched it, thought it was pretty good. And then another good buddy of mine, Jacob Dukeshire, 1/3 of I'll Take 3. Go ahead, since Owen's not here, Cody.
I'll take 3 what?
Exactly.
Dicks.
Check out their podcast. They haven't done anything in a hot minute, but it's still a pretty good listen. I think it's a great listen, but I overextend for my friends. So most people will probably think it's a great podcast, not really great podcast. So I say it's pretty good. So they'll think I'm underselling it. That's why they'll listen to it. So shout out to Jacob, Alex, and Kristen. But me and Jacob went to go see Anchorman 2 in theaters. And it was the PG-13 cut.
Mm.
And we laughed our fucking ass off. We saw it after we got off work. There was like a showing at like, I want to say 10:45. And we went up there after work. We got off work at 10:15. And we fucking just laughed our fucking ass off. Like, it was like that fucking, like, that scene where the Winnebago is driving itself and he's cooking chimichangas. And he's like, "Who's driving the Winnebago?" He goes, "Oh, I got it on cruise control. Who wants their chimichangas crunchy," or whatever. And, you see Paul Rudd just like processing the information. He goes, "Cruise control controls speed, not driving." And in that instance, as soon as like the reality dawns on it, the car goes off the fucking, like, from driving perfectly fine to like causing a huge fucking accident and shit like that. And we laughed our ass off. And he told me he got the Blu-ray. They had the PG-13 cut, the rated R cut, and the unrated cut. And he watched all 3 of them over the course, like, I don't know, like a year or whatever. He told me, goes,
4th of July.
Yeah, exactly. And he goes, man, because I asked him about it. He goes, the PG-13 version is probably the funniest of the 3. Like, the unrated kind of goes way over the rails, and R-rated is like, oh, okay, this is leaning too hard into the vulgar. Not vulgar, but into the humor. It's like the PG-13 was like perfect balance.
Right.
So, yeah. So, Semi-Pro, the other guys, I quote that all the time. Fucking Samuel L. Jackson goes, "Hey, you shut your face! If I want to hear you talk, I'll shove my arm up your ass and work your mouth like a puppet. You feel me? You feel me?" And just fucking shit. And then when someone's doing something like chaotic driving, I quote that. I can't remember the guy's name. I guess I should look it up. I'm not going to. He played in the Ahsoka Tano show. He was the guy with the orange lightsaber, and he's like a bodyguard for the chick who's embezzling all this money and shit like that. And when when Will Ferrell does this crazy fucking maneuver, and then like Mark Wahlberg goes, "Hey, Alan, where did you learn how to do that?" He goes, "I played a bunch of Grand Theft Auto." And then he does the move, and you go to the other car, and the guy's chasing him. He goes, "Somebody's been playing Grand Theft Auto." So, so anytime I do something crazy, like yeah, somebody's been playing Grand Theft Auto.
Dude,
So-
that movie's great. I love like the running gag about like how Will Ferrell has like an extremely attractive wife, and like he kind of treats her like dirt. And Mark Wahlberg's just like, "Why are you talking to her that way?"
That is Eva Mendes, and I was watching today because Savannah was crocheting. She's crocheting herself a sweater, and Riley was playing his
you a
game.
replica Eva Mendes.
Boy, oh boy. But she got her start. One of her first acting gigs was on the Mortal Kombat Conquest live action show, and she was on the
really?
episode with Scorpion. Yeah. And I was telling Savannah, I'm like, look, don't be looking at her and being like, this is why you're watching the show because her titties are hanging out. And I ain't gonna lie, that's part of the reason. But I ain't gonna tell that to my girlfriend because she's gonna get mad.
Dude,
But no, I just joke around. I told her, I'm like, yeah, they told her that they couldn't afford bras for any of the women's characters, so none of the women wear bras in this.
Oh, dude, that was.
And then
that was like fucking
I mean,
filmmakers. Period. Like, look at the fucking first Spider-Man movie. It's like, so Kristen, we're just gonna have you wear this T-shirt and nothing else underneath, no bra, okay? But what about the scene in the rain? Don't worry about it. We got you.
we got some nipples, baby. Show 'em.
Yeah, I think the first movie I first saw Eva Mendes in was Too Fast, Too Furious. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the first time. But yeah, it's dude. That I love the scene, the whole aim for the bushes scene in the other guys.
You think what I'm thinking? Aim for the bushes. They fist bump and they jump. There goes my hero. Watch it as he goes. And I love with the funeral, like Wahlberg's like, doesn't make any sense. He jumped 100 feet. There's no like this, and Will Ferrell's like, just doesn't make any sense. Like that movie's great. Michael Keaton is fucking wonderful in that movie.
Yeah.
Like we have this at my job, is in like an air conditioner factory. We have this like meeting every day before we start working, and I have been hoping and praying that my boss, when she conducts these meetings, tells everybody, "All right, everybody, come on in. Oh, take 2 more steps back. I'll come back 1 more step, right there." Because that's what he does. He tells everybody to gather in. He goes, "Oh, no, take a couple steps back. Come on back, right there." And like I pray every day that this happens in one of these meetings, and it has not happened yet. And it's like, fuck, it's so disappointing that he just tells her, he says, like, the paperwork here is thick and ugly, kind of like Danson's wife. He's like, no offense. And the guy's like, it's okay. And then later on, like, he has this whole thing. He goes, look, I have to work here and work Bed Bath & Beyond so I can help my kid go through NYC so he can become a DJ and explore his bisexuality. And then later on, he's talking to his boss, the police chief. He goes, "I was good seeing you. My son's bisexual." He goes, "That's nice." That's fucking stupid. God. And he keeps doing the TLC references where it's like, creep, creep. It's like, oh, come on. You can't say creep, creep when I say TLC. He goes, "I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Just go." So this has been your episode covering anything but Rumpelstiltskin, everybody.
Yeah, so let's get back to Rumpelstiltskin real quick.
God.
Yeah, so we get the duel scene and the go-kart, and he gets
And the best part of this movie happens here. And it's the audio that opens this episode. He's chasing this guy in a electric go-kart. Not even one that's gas-powered that could probably go like 35 miles an hour. This thing's probably going 20. This 18-wheeler can't keep up. The power runs out, and you don't see where this go-kart is like stationed at, if you will. Like, we can't move it. And here comes the truck. He gets it going, and he comes careening off a fucking hill, a la Duel. And this truck is like, it's an impressive stunt, I ain't gonna lie. Because it's obviously a real 18-wheeler going down this, like, side of this mountain. And it's hitting shit. And then you see a close-up of Rumpelstiltskin behind the steering wheel, and he's like, "Fucketh me!" And then it crashes, and everything gets set on fire. It's pretty fucking funny. Like, this is the best scene of the whole movie. It's the only reason to watch it is just to get to this point. Turn it off afterwards. Like, I swear, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
The
ugh.
So yeah, they that happens. He goes back to find.
Guess who's back?
I can't even remember what the
Back
main
again.
character's name is now, since it's been so long. It's been a week and a half since I watched this, and I think I've watched about 10 movies since. But he goes back to find the main character and to get her son, and oh man, what happens?
This is where we get that scene.
He
We
doesn't.
talked
He doesn't
about
go
it.
back. He doesn't go back, right? He's in the semi truck still, and the cops show up, or they call the cops or something, and they open the door and they see that he's all like burned up and like, melted looking, and the cop is just like, holy crapola, and I don't remember if that's what he says. You just follow me along here, people, and I'm sure that most people listen to this probably haven't even seen Rumpelstiltskin. So he grows wings and flies to heaven, and that's the end. No, they're like, oh yeah, okay, whatever, blah blah blah. He's dead. And all of a sudden they see Rumpelstiltskin moving, and he starts like peeling the burned skin from him, which is weird that like the burned skin, which reminds me of like we had a toaster oven when I was a kid, and a lot of times if I just wanted something to snack on, I'd just take a piece of white bread and like a piece of like Kraft American cheese and put it on the bread and like put it in the toaster oven. And if you did it too long, the cheese would like start to burn basically, so it turned like black and brown and like crispy on the top. And that's kind of what his skin looked. But it looked like that all over, like even over his clothes. So it's like, why does he have a burned skin look over his clothing? But anyway, he starts to like shed it like a bug or a snake. Little disgusting bastard. And
Like he's got it's his skin is like reborn underneath it almost. It just peels off, and he looks better than he did in this entire movie. The makeup.
yeah, he peels it off, and
Um,
he's Leonardo DiCaprio underneath.
yeah,
And
because at this point the cops still think that they're cop killers. Well, no,
well,
they don't think they're cop killers yet because this cop gets killed, and that's what
yeah,
they're going to
he
think.
kills this cop, right? He kills this cop,
They all
and
go down and check on that fucking truck for some reason.
yeah, they go to check on the truck. He gets out. He kills the cop. And this is another one of those moments where, or I guess they knock his head off, or they behead him, or no, he rips his own head
No,
off.
he pulls his own head off and throws it on the guy's neck to give him a hickey, and the guy's like,
Well, he doesn't
and
even
then he
throw it. He
dies.
just like holds it up against his neck, right? Like I feel
Oh,
like
yeah, I know.
and it's just like it's one of those. It's another one of those moments, and I'm sure I've talked about it earlier in this episode, where you like the problem with the way people die in this movie are like they just stand there, and Rumpelstiltskin moves so slow when he's approaching them, and they just stand there and take it. And I can't wait till we get to the police station
He's just taking
part, because the police station part is just absolutely absurd. And so that happens.
You think
and
that's absurd? Wait till we watch Jason Goes to Hell when he gets to that police station, okay?
They think that they get away from him, right? Like, and I don't even remember how they get away. Sorry, everyone. Like I said, it's been a week and a half since I watched this. And
Well,
I watched about 10 other movies.
they get into the cop car and
they
take
run.
off. He doesn't have
Yeah.
a vehicle. And so he's like, honey, we can't go to the cops. They're going to think we're cop
Well,
killers because we got a cop car and the cop's dead.
His head is on the ground, and like at one point, because they show like his body like walking around, he's like trying to call it over to him, which doesn't make any sense because your body doesn't have ears on it. Like your ears are attached to your head, so I don't understand, but whatever.
God, if this movie was straight up a comedy,
yeah,
like it would have worked so much better. Just
yeah, I agree.
oh, God,
But,
they try to, and then this is the scene we talked about though. You know, they go to that abandoned like diner that they found.
Yeah,
And then we have that scene where he's hunch walking across this field, and like it looks like one take.
yeah, but they do like
hunch
and they do like
walking,
a
and he's
wide.
like-
They do a wide shot, so it just looks like it's. I think it's the first time in the movie where you really notice that he's literally just like a grown man crouching down and like almost like just like hobbling.
And it's impressive because his knees had to have been killing him.
Oh yeah,
He fucking not nailed it. I do have a respect for this actor. Like, if him having to do this, because he's not a short guy.
Mhm.
You know, it's not like he's 5'2" playing this part. He's not that guy who does the Ewoks and R2D2 in Star Wars. He's at least like 5'10", 5'11",
Yeah.
and he's having to crunch down like in a game, like a Friday the 13th we joked about before, where you hit the crunch button and you walk, and he's walking and he's doing that fucking "I want the baby, little Jimmy" or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, and then they find this old doll made of straw in the bathroom of this abandoned diner, and they decide to give it to the baby. And my germophobia is like,
Well, but the thing is, though, it protects the baby because he has
oh, I know
straw.
that. Well, they don't. I don't think they think about the straw part. But then you see him outside the window. He's all smiling because he sees a baby, and he sees that little doll made of straw. He's like, no,
Straw.
not the straw. I didn't think how funny that was until that moment. He's like,
So
no,
yeah,
not the
so and
straw.
then at that scene, the cops show up to
Thinking that they're
arrest
baby killers or baby
cop
killers, cop
killers.
killers.
Yeah,
That's
it's not
baby
Casey.
killers.
It's not Casey Anthony in there. They accuse them of killing the cop, and they arrest them. And they're like, "Take the baby in the black and white. I got these tools over here." And they drive off. They go to the police station. They're in a cell. There's a female police officer that's kind of like watching the baby, and she takes the straw doll and throws it in the trash. She's like, "Oh no, you made a big mistake, lady." Big
I don't think
mistake.
that baby that straw toy comes into play anymore after that.
No, it's just gone. I think it's really just like, oh well, Rumpelstiltskin finds them, but he doesn't approach them because of the straw doll. But then once he shows up at the police station, the baby doesn't have it anymore, so it does. He's free to take it. So he shows up, and one by one starts killing off. Oh wait, before he shows up, it shows the main character being brought back to the cell, and the guy, the talk show dude, is like, "Who did you call a lawyer?" And she's like, "No, I called Matilda." And he's like, "You called Matilda?" And she's like,
That's
"Yeah,
the witch.
yeah, the witch."
Or,
And she's like,
that's the witch who sold her this shit.
"Yeah," and she's like, "Yeah, she says that she can help us." And he's like, "Oh my
Okay,
god, we're never getting
Here-
out of here."
Okay, and here's the best part. They escape because the one cop who's dying from the attack from Rumpelstiltskin, because he has hilariously killed everybody in hilarious fashion, gives them the keys and goes, "You have to stop him."
Yeah.
So they get out there, and then they get into the cop car, and Matilda is sleeping in the back of the cop car. I don't know how she got there, but she's in the back of the car, and she wakes up and she goes, "Hey!" It's almost like in Yes Man, where
Yeah.
Jim Carrey's like, "Hey, don't freak out." It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So Rumpelstiltskin, he kills everyone off one by one, all the police officers, and it's it starts off like, okay, fine, he sneaks in, he kills the person that's manning the front desk, and then like he finds someone else, but then it's just like literally like he kills somebody off, someone hears a noise, they walk in, he kills them off, somebody hears a noise, they walk in, he kills them off, and like you got the one officer that like unloads his entire like weapon into him, and he's just like, it's not a phasing him, but that's another situation where it doesn't phase him, and he just stands there and waits for Rumpelstiltskin to walk 15 feet across the room to him to kill him. Is like, the logic is just, it's baffling. So he does that.
There's no logic in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much out the window at this point. Out the 10-story window, so it's dead. So yeah, he finds the female officer, he kills her. She also tries to shoot him, it doesn't work, and he snatches the baby.
Hey, you said that at the 10th store. That would be 10th store. That's out of the 10th floor, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this comedian told this story on the Bob and Tom show. He was a former cop. And he said that, he was always like getting in trouble with his boss. He said his boss told him, if I could put you on a dead end street directing traffic at 2:00 in the morning, I would. So he goes, they had the big, what is the oh god, St. Patrick's Day celebration in town. So he's patrolling the streets, you know. He 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 said he sees this guy leaning against a building, like laying on the ground, leaning against a building, going, oh, oh, oh. He's like, oh Lord, like get your drunk butt up. He picks him up and throws him against the car, and you hear this, oh, you know, and a woman leans outside of her window. She goes, excuse me, sir, he just jumped from the 10th floor. You might want to be careful with him. It's like, boys, I'll see you in 2 weeks. I got suspended. Because he's like, because he didn't know he was that, but he said the guy ended up suing the city for police brutality, ended up getting money out or some shit like that. So technically, if you jump out of the 10th floor, Corey, you're not dead yet. You can still survive. So.
Okay. 20th
I thought it was
story
funny, so fuck off, Cody. All right.
then. So yeah, Rumpelstiltskin snatches the baby and he like crouch walks away, and
That's all he does in this movie is crouch walks.
yeah,
And rides
like
motorcycles successfully, and
like
an 18-wheeler with a manual transmission successfully.
and like you said, the cop like crawls into the thing. He's like, "You have to stop him" or whatever. Which it just seems it's so stupid. It's a dumb scene. Gives them the keys. They get out. They get in the car and they start driving. And Matilda's in the back seat. And then she tells them all about how the ritual is supposed to be done. You have to have
Rumpelstiltskin hears this though, because
yeah,
he's trying to get the baby to quit crying. So he shows him.
And this
vision.
part,
Let's see what mommy's doing.
This part, is baffling because it's like, okay, hold on. Let me explain what Matilda says first. Matilda tells them you have to have straw, you have to have fire, and you have to say this incantation, and it'll send him away, right? And I think part of the incantation is saying his name, right? So, but yeah, Rumpelstiltskin looks in on him, and he has to take the baby to a loving mother, or it has to be in a loving mother's arms, but it doesn't necessarily have to be his mother. So he finds a grave of someone that literally, like the tombstone literally says, a loving mother, and digs it up so that he can place the baby in the arms of this corpse. And he's like, yeah, let's look in on what mommy's doing. And he looks in and he sees that Matilda's there, like telling them how to basically get rid of him. And he chokes her to death from a completely, different location. Here's the thing that bothers me about it. And again, we already said logic apparently doesn't apply to these characters at all. But it always irritates me when like a world seems to have rules, or like they do something. It's like, okay, basically my point here, why didn't he not do this earlier when he was trying to track down the mother? Why did he not like kill her from afar and then show up and take the baby? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's there's a lot of like, okay, he could have grabbed the baby here, could have done this differently. It's
he's
just
not
the way this
Pennywise.
movie's paced out.
He's not Pennywise or Freddy Krueger, where they like to play with their food. Like it's your main goal is to take the baby. So I guess you can lift a curse or something that's on you. I'm still not really entirely clear as to what Rumpelstiltskin's intentions are.
I think he's supposed to have like a life if he gets a baby. Like he doesn't have a soul.
Oh
so
yeah, that's right.
He a baby soul, he gets a soul or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's like he can actually like, I don't know, I guess enjoy things or whatever. It's really fucking weird.
Yeah.
But then he gets to that graveyard and he goes, well, you have to be in a baby's in a mother's arms. So he digs up that woman who's a really bad, like decomposed skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts the baby in her arms, and he's like, he has to wait till like morning to do the incantation.
Yeah. So
Then
I'll
they
wait for the
pull up.
sunrise.
Yeah, this is like the final bit when they pull up, and the guy actually has a good idea. Throws a bunch of straw into the digging part of a
Like a bulldozer
backhoe.
or whatever. Yeah, backhoe.
Bulldozer, yeah. And so he sets it on fire, so fire and all that shit. So somehow, like, you wouldn't know where Rumpelstiltskin is in this fucking place. They've had a couple of dead bodies come up from the ground to grab them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they finally find him, and they're driving, and Rumpel falls into the dump part where you dig up shit and dump dirt. he gets burned up, and it's just like this movie's finally getting to the ending,
Yeah.
and he comes to pieces after she says the name, and he gets sealed back up in his little rock.
Mhm.
They somehow find the baby where they didn't know where he was in the first fucking place,
Yeah.
Rumpelstiltskin. So they find the baby, and then they leave, and then the rock, which there's no water anywhere near. This is a graveyard, and Tommy Blaze, the actor who plays the TV host, chucks the rock like he's a baseball player with commentary from himself, and it bounces into the edge of water.
Yeah, it's like literally like in a 6-inch deep part of the water. It's like, well, no one will find it now. It's like,
Uh, well, why aren't we going on to a cruise and then chucking that shit in the ocean?
yeah,
We
then
have whirlpools, mind you, in the middle of the fucking ocean. You
yeah,
can chuck something down into it. This is obviously they were hoping that this was going to come out with some sequels.
at the
That's
very
how all
least,
horror movies are.
yeah, at the very least, do what they did in The Mask, where they like toss it off of a dock or something,
Yeah,
and like in a
it's like
chained up box.
yeah, like there was no body of water from
Yeah.
where he could have thrown it where he was at.
Yeah.
And then what's really weird about the ending is you see these two little girls find this rock 3 years later.
Mhm.
They bring it up to their mama, who's holding their baby sister, and they're saying, like, "Oh, this is cool. Can we keep it? Yeah, you can keep it." All the while the baby's staring at this rock menacingly. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, it's supposed to be your firstborn child, so technically it'd be one of those older
Wait,
sisters.
no, I think it's supposed to be your firstborn son.
Well, those are all three girls then. So what the fuck is the point?
Were they? Was the baby not a boy?
Yeah. No, it was not a boy
Oh,
because he was
fuck
dressed
it.
in pink. Or
That's
she was
fucking
dressed in
hell.
pink. Hold on.
I don't know. Again, there's no logic, and thankfully they never made another one.
Fuck is
I
me.
I don't think the director really worked on anything of note after this. I don't even think he really worked on that many more movies as a director after this. So
We're
he
about
threw
to find out, buddy.
he threw away Leprechaun, which ended up being a franchise, for this to take a chance on this, right? Which understandable. You want to do something new. You don't want to become the Leprechaun sequel guy. But like, I guess this was just such a horrible flop for the studio and stuff that they were just like, yeah, we don't even want you back with Leprechaun, like as a producer or anything. So I don't know, man. I mean, I know Leprechaun like kind of went after Leprechaun 2. It kind of went off the rails anyway. I know they did like Leprechaun in Space and Leprechaun in the Hood 1 and 2, and so which Leprechaun in the Hood is like a genuinely like one of those movies that is like, oh, this is bad, but it's like really fun to watch. It's just so fucking silly, but it knows it, right. It's not trying to be scary in any way. So
Yeah, and this movie, Rumpelstiltskin, has been described as so bad it's funny. There were some genuinely funny parts I thought were interesting. Not interesting, funny. Like the fucketh me part. The
yeah,
ridiculousness of him driving the 18-wheeler and then driving the motorcycle before that. Those are the only parts I found legitimately funny. I don't think this movie quite nails the comedy, and it does not nail the horror. So it's like one of
no,
those things, like usually when you have a horror comedy, it nails one of the two. Like, oh, it's kind of scary here, but it's not so funny, or it's really funny, it's not really scary, it's a fun movie to watch. This movie doesn't, it's like it's off kilter from the word go, and it never finds a kilter to stay on.
mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go out on a limb, Cody, and say Owen would recommend this movie.
Yeah, let's just go with that.
Okay, so Owen recommended this movie. I don't recommend this movie. I can't wait to tell him this next week when we record
Yeah.
Friday the 13th. By
I
the
don't
way,
re-
you recommended it at Rumpelstiltskin.
I don't recommend it. I mean, it's really bad. The only reason the only reason I wanted to watch it is because I know it's the first horror movie technically that I've ever seen in my life, but I didn't remember anything about it. So yeah, I mean, scare a 4-year-old kid. I can see how a 4-year-old would be afraid of Rumpelstiltskin because he is like, so he does have like a creepiness to him. But yeah, I'm I'm glad that it's done with. It's in the books, so
Yeah, it's in the books. I mean, it's not going to be as. This episode might break double-digit listens. Mars Attacks is fucking struggling on Spotify, so people please go back and listen to that, or at least click on it once.
it's doing
Uh,
better on YouTube. But yeah, let's talk about our next movies.
Finally. All right. Well, a movie that I have been fond of for a long time. At one time, I thought it was my favorite of the series. When I went back and rewatched it, there's no way it's nowhere near my favorite. It's probably not even that good, and you guys are going to rip it to shreds. It's one of the lowest Rotten Tomatoes rated movies of Friday the 13th. It's Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D. We won't be watching it in 3D.
No,
But this movie made more money than the second one and just barely under the first one because of that. But this is the movie that introduces the iconic hockey mask, so I'm excited to talk about that.
Yep.
And yeah, so my next movie, our next one we're recording, is going to be Friday the 13th Part 3. I don't know what the fuck Owen's picking, so he doesn't know what he's picking, so don't even
yeah,
ask.
he never know. He'll know next week. So
4 years into this, and our boys never had a movie planned. I respect it at this point. I mean, this isn't a bit. I mean, this is legitimately Owen, and I find it extremely just relatable with. That's how I am about everything else in life except for this podcast. So, Cody, what are we going to be covering on your end from this point on?
I think that we are going to be doing.
I thought your headphones put out.
No, I was thinking we're gonna do a Nightmare on Elm Street, but I think what we're gonna do, because we've talked about it, and you said that you may end up taking a break here and there to do something different while we're doing Friday the 13th. I think what I want to do is my next 3 movies be Nightmare on Elm Street 1, 2, and 3. Specifically because I don't remember 4, but I know 5 and 6 have like a through line to them, and I do want to take a bit of a break. I think at that point in the timeline, in the in the timeline, in time, we'll be close to Nosferatu, the Robert Eggers remake, coming out in theaters, and I want to cover the original Nosferatu before we do that one. So I think what we'll do, because I'm not going to make you guys go to the theater and see Nosferatu. So
I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind it. I'm gonna be into, like, we're gonna see what in at least a month, Deadpool and Wolverine together.
Yeah,
And then October comes around, I'm going to go see Venom 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then that comes out Christmas Day. I mean, it's not going to happen Christmas Day, but that next week, I'm going to be off for 5 days again. Like, I'm only going to be working. The way the work schedule works out is like Christmas Eve, I want to say is Thursday. Christmas is Friday. They're shutting down Wednesday the 23rd. So we're working Monday and Tuesday, then we're off 5 days. Then we're working Monday and Tuesday again, then we're off another 5 days for the New Year's Eve week.
Right.
So I'm going to have some time to actually go see it. If Owen's back in town, maybe I drag his ass to go see it too. I wouldn't mind seeing it. It looks awesome.
If that's the case, then yeah, we can all go and see it together, because I do want to see that in theater. Like, I don't know if people are listening to this, and sorry to be on a diatribe so late in the episode, but people who are listening to this, I don't know if you've listened to our other episodes or whatever, but I am a huge Robert Eggers fan. I love all 3 of his movies to varying degrees, but I think they're all great. And he has talked about doing the Nosferatu remake for years now. Like, I think pretty much after The Witch was made, he was saying that he wanted to do Nosferatu, because it's like one of the 2 main movies that inspired him to become a filmmaker. And it's finally happening. It's got a great cast, and I definitely want to go to the theater. So if you 2 would end up being down to go, we'll definitely do it. That way and then my movie, after Nightmare on Elm Street 3 will be the original Nosferatu, and then I think it'll line up pretty well or pretty close to where the new one will come out and we can do it and like get the episode out like in a relative time.
Hey, let me ask you this. I don't know if we can work this out. If we could find that time period, that next week, which would be New Year's Eve week, if we could find it where you could come into town, because hopefully I won't be living in Clarksville by that point.
Yeah.
If you can come into town kind of earlier, like let's just say we're going to see a noon showing at that point, and then we can run back to either Owen's place or my place, and then we record an episode together.
Yeah. So it's
like
fresh.
While it's fresh. Yeah, 100%. While we do like out of theater reaction podcast to it. And then after that, we can fuck off and go grab something to eat real quick before you go back home.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that sounds like a great idea. But we'll talk about like where the dates are going to fall once we stop the recording.
Yeah.
So
it's exciting to actually have like some kind of like plan like that, though, for us to get together at the fatherland ship and to record. Like I said, I'm always excited when I can get a guest host on the episode because like in 3 episodes, when we get back around to me, it'll be Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and Alex will be on the episode with us.
Yeah.
So it's like it's always exciting to get a plan out to that, and then we haven't done anything together in person in like at least 2 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think the
been a
last
while.
thing we may have done since I could. Oh,
you cannot, man. You cannot. When anyone ever says it's been a while, my mind immediately goes.
Dude, me too. Even when I'm listening to the podcast where they say it, and I'm just in my head, I'm just like, since I could.
It's such a great song, though.
But yeah, I think the last thing we did together was probably the Space Jam episode, like the watch along episode.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we'll get it figured out at this point. I mean, hell, people, we got it.
Oh yeah.
But,
so
yeah. Oh, real quick, for anybody out there listening, we are on YouTube now. So when these episodes release live at this point, they'll be on Spotify, they'll be on Apple, they'll be on YouTube. YouTube, we're not doing a live video yet, or not live video, but a properly like.
Yeah, you're not seeing our faces or anything. We'll talk about all that for the future, but as of right now, it's still just audio with like the logo in the background.
But if you have YouTube Premium, I do suggest listening to our podcast on YouTube because you can turn your screen off, and it's a great time. So if you get a chance, subscribe to us on YouTube at Filmoscopy Podcast. That's all you got to look up. If you see us on Spotify or Apple, subscribe to us there. Give us a rating. Yeah, you can like the video on YouTube. I know a lot of people don't like liking videos because
it messes with their algorithm and stuff like that too. So
it does, and it bothers me. I go through my liked list on YouTube. I go through it like once a week to see if there's anything I want to get rid of, just because of my OCD. And some people just don't want their liked video list to be like 600 videos like mine is.
Oh, dude, mine's like 5,000. Like, there's no hope for mine anymore. It's in the thousands at this point.
God. So anybody, if you get a chance, just check us out on like YouTube, or like the video, or subscribe to the channel. More importantly, I like to see that number grow. We appreciate you listening this far on a movie that doesn't deserve this kind of credit or coverage, I should say, not credit. And we gave it way too much credit than it deserved. So, anyway, thank you for listening to Filmoscopy for Owen, who is no longer here, at least for this week. Well, this half a week. I don't know, this half a recording. You get it. I'm going to say toodles and finish him for Sarah, who's listening to the end of this episode. So, Sarah, finish him. Cody, take over.
Bye, everyone.
Fucketh me.